Well, can you deny it, Lord Strongheart? I'm the judge, so yes, that is everything. The end. I hereby find myself innocent. Aha! Ooh, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? I am the Story-Driven Gamer, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we are hopping back into the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. I don't want it to end, guys. I really don't. This could very well be my last recording. It's hard to know for sure, because it feels like we're getting very close to the end here, though. I don't know if it'll be one episode or two, but I'm thinking this could be my last recording, but I could be wrong. But regardless of whether I have one or two more, however many episodes I have left, this has been a wild ride. It's really culminating. This trial has been just upping the ante every step of the way. I'm sorry for leaving you guys on a cliffhanger. I've been waiting to jump into. It's only been a day since my last recording, so I didn't have to wait too long. But I'm still not entirely sure what we're doing here. So I have to, if I remember correctly, yeah, we're looking for a reason why Lord Clint Van Zykes, a man of high noble standing, would have chosen death. So we found out that he was the one who penned the actual will. So he was the one who wanted to die, or knew he was going to die. Information so secret people in the judiciary would be willing to negotiate the jailbreak of a condemned killer. Information so secret. The only explanation that fits those facts is an unthinkable truth that turns absolutely everything on its head. Let's hope they give me some more hints, because I'm not sure. But it's just too hideous. Mr. Naruhodo. This is going to be a big twist, but I'm not sure where they're going. However difficult the situation might become, you work with your client in pursuit of the truth. That's what you resolved to do when you entered the courtroom this morning, if I'm not mistaken. You are not mistaken, Miss Suzuto. So hold your head high, and keep soldiering on, even if you have no idea what the hell is going on. Yes, you're right. 10 years ago, in his final moments, Lord Clint Van Zykes left behind a will. A will that Genshin Asuki was able to use as a weapon to negotiate his escape from prison. In all probability, the details in the will were related to the Professor case. The defense's last statement is mere conjecture. What were you getting at, man? On out with it. Rinosuke? As soon as these words come out of my mouth, there's no going back. I believe that the last will and testament of Lord Clint Van Zykes was, in fact, okay. Let me think about this. A report, an accusation. I feel like it's probably one of these. Maybe an accusation? Okay, I'm glad it's not making me like choose an evidence. I'm not quite getting it. Let me just think. So we know Clint Van Zykes is the victim of the Reaper. Supposedly. But he knew beforehand, he wrote a will, like he knew he was going to die, so it wasn't like... So... It could be an accusation? Like, did it accuse who the real Reaper... Did he know who the real Reaper was? That doesn't seem like a giant twist. A confession would be wild. But I'm a little bit confused, because you're saying... Hang on. Yeah, a will that Genshin Asuki was able to use as a weapon to negotiate his escape from prison. But, okay, it's not saying that Lord Clint Van Zykes gave him. I'm gonna say an accusation, right? That would make sense. Well, I have 3 guesses either way, so let's try an accusation. Obviously, it must have been an accusation. An accusation? Yes. Revealing the true identity of the Professor. Which would explain why Asuki took it, since it was He who was implicated by the document. Oh, maybe it was a confession then. Wait, hang on. No, in that case, the will wouldn't have given Mr. Oski any bargaining power at all. Then you're suggesting the accusation was against some other person? You're not listening to me. No, if that were the case, the two men would surely have collaborated to pursue the culprit together. I think I might... Let me... Oh, the music's stopping, though. I was saying I might be wrong. I started... As they're talking, I was thinking, oh, maybe the point is he's the it's a confession. Like, maybe he's the professor. Well, let's see what happens. Then your whole argument falls down. Okay. My bad. Yeah, I think... Can I object to the penalty, too? It's apparent that the defense's explanation has no real substance. This line of inquiry is dead. Come on, Ryunosuke. I know you. You've seen the heart of all this, haven't you? Okay, I think it's kind of obvious now. Okay, yeah, I know. Because if we're trying to find something that would turn everything on its head, it clearly makes sense it would be a confession. And that's why Asagi would have been able to use it, because it would have said that Clint Van Zyks was the real professor. That's what we're getting at. Sorry, it just took me a moment. Come on. Skip all this. Watch, I'm still wrong. It's gotta be that, right? A confession. Slam! You can do this, Mr. Naruhodo. I believe that what Lord Clint Van Zyks actually penned that day was a confession. So he's the real Reaper. A confession regarding the mass murderer known as the Professor. And its true identity.
Objection!
Dun dun dun. Enough, Council. What are you saying? Do you even realize? Oh, it's gonna destroy him. A confession about the true identity of the Professor. That would mean, yes, it would mean your bro is really the Professor. Lord Van Zyks, I appreciate this. Must be hard to take in. But it's the only explanation that fits. Even he can't deny it. The killer that terrorized London a decade ago and became known as the Professor. The man believed to have murdered 5 members of the aristocracy wasn't Genshin Asagi at all. No, you can't be suggesting. It was in fact the man believed to have been the 5th victim. Dun dun dun! Lord Clint Van Zyks himself. That really turns everything around. Grr. Oh no! My bro! Oh man. It's finally open, is it? Pandora's box. The great Van Zyks family, they've been thoroughbreds of the British judiciary for years. And Lord Clint Van Zyks, he was a paragon of justice in the capital. But he was actually a mass murderer, a perpetrator of atrocities. If the general public ever found out, law and order in this country would be finished. My brother. Yes. Oh, this is too awful. Poor Lord Van Zyks. Yeah, that would just completely tarnish your memory of you know, your own family. I wonder though, did he never suspect Mr. Naruhodo? You're saying like maybe he refused to accept it? Lord Beric Van Zyks is a brilliant prosecutor. Is it conceivable that he didn't realize what his older brother really was? Order, order, order in court! Shut up, everyone! Lord Van Zyks. The professor made use of an enormous hound as his murder weapon. Tell me, did your brother own a dog? Yes, he did. Balmung. He was a well-known hunting dog. People called him a giant. I don't believe this. When my brother would go hunting in the forest of the grounds behind the house, he always took Balmung. After Clint's death, the creature passed away too. Almost as if it were following his master. Oh, dang. That's sad. He was a magnificent hunting dog, worthy of the jewel-studded collar around his neck. A jewel-studded collar? Oh! That is what that... I was wondering when that would come into play. I kept bringing it up at random moments. What was that? The end of the second case, I think, that we found that in the roof of Shamspear's room? That's right. Though sadly, some years ago now, it was stolen by a thief who broke into the house one night. A jewel-studded collar stolen by a thief. It so happened that myself and my colleagues have come across such a collar during our time in London. How could you? Total coincidence. There was an old emblem attached to the collar too, made of pure gold. That's the one that had blood all over it. It was topped with a small crown and bore an ornate capital letter B. Oh, Balmung. What? An emblem bearing the initial B? Oh my! You know it! You know it! It's the insignia of the Baskerville family. Oh, okay, B for Baskerville. Oh, the Hound of the Baskervilles. What? The Baskerville? Why is that name coming up now? Man, that's a throwback, a callback. Baskerville is the family name of my late brother's widow. The pure gold emblem was an heirloom, which Clint acquired upon their marriage. Ooh. There can be no doubt then, the collar you've described was Balmung's. The family insignia of Lord Clint Van Zykes' widow? Do we know who that is? Is it not important? There was a considerable amount of blood on the collar when we saw it. Since we know the dog was used for hunting, it could have been from its quarry, of course. But it could equally have been from human prey. So is it true then? Clint Van Zykes really was the professor? Impossible! These Japanese are making all exonerate their own! So in fact, the person responsible for these murders of nobles and royals was the noble himself. And that threatened to be an enormous scandal that would irrevocably destabilize British society. My father knew that, and was using it to negotiate his way out of the unjust charges brought against him. But at the very last hour, those he'd bargained with betrayed him, slaying him mercilessly on foreign soil. Oh. Interesting, okay. Well, can you deny it, Lord Strongheart? I'm the judge, so yes. 10 years have passed. And still now, the 6 million inhabitants of our great capital rest easy believing that justice was done. That though his anonymity remains, the diabolical murderer was caught and executed. Very well then. You may have the truth. Oh, just like that? Don't tell me it's not going to be that easy. Tell me then. Tell me what Clint really was. A piece of crap. Lord Clint Van Zykes was too pure of heart. When he became a prosecutor and went in pursuit of the black roots of crime, he drove himself into a corner. He came to the uncomfortable realization that to fight the most fiendish of criminals requires one to become even more fiendish oneself. Vigilante justice. Clint. So he just took it upon himself to duel out justice. Or his version of justice. Ooh, this is a familiar street. The 19th century was a truly miraculous 100 years for Great Britain, and indeed the whole world. New industry, new technology, and with the birth of the Metropolitan Police Service, new law and order. But these dazzling new developments meant even ever deeper shadows were cast on society. Water sullied by factories, air thick with noxious fumes and crime, growing daily to fill the darkness. What is this, Gotham? Lord Clint Van Zykes made it his mission to combat that darkness. But as time went on, it slowly ate at his soul, until eventually he was consumed. It's ironic, really. and somewhat surprising that the truth has once again been unearthed. By a Japanese, of all people. The audacity. Once again, what do you mean? 10 years ago, your father, Genshin Asagi, turned up at my office one night. The professor? Yes, beyond all shadow of doubt. You must issue a warrant to search his home at once. Don't be absurd. The man comes from one of our country's most illustrious families. He's a paragon of justice here in the capital. Yes, that's the point. That's why none of you British can see it. He's using his noble status as a diversion, whilst he commits these atrocious crimes behind the scenes. Do you have evidence? No. Nothing definitive as yet. But he keeps an enormous savage hound on the estate. We need the full support of the judiciary for this. We're up against a number of the aristocracy. So, a large family estate has a fierce guard dog. You should know that's commonplace here in Britain. I'm sorry, but I can't possibly put Scotland Yard onto this based on the tenuous accusation of a visiting student. Dang. He was onto it from the start. So I turned down Asagi's plea, and as a result, he took it upon himself to visit the man Zykes' mansion on his own. We can only imagine now what happened between the two men. Though we know the outcome, of course. Lord Clint Van Zykes perished. So... Interesting. So it was Asagi who killed Clint. I don't believe this. So in actual fact, Kazuma-sama's father did. He made the late Lord Van Zykes meet the same fate. He put a permanent end to the professor killings himself by taking the drastic measure of ending the perpetrator's life. As soon as I hurried to the mansion. When I arrived, it was easy to grasp what had happened. And what about the will? Asagi must have already taken it. Nothing of that nature was found at the scene. This mysterious will keeps eluding us. We had no idea of the existence of such a document at the time. Silence. Oh man. So many hearts are being crushed today. Van Zykes has to learn that his brother was a serial killer. And Asagi had to learn that his father was innocent. But, you know, he still died. I was the only person who knew the true identity of the professor. So, I resolved to keep it a secret, and to guard the secret to the bitter end. Hey, at least he's willingly confessing. He's not even trying to fight it at this point. So you're admitting to it? That you were behind it all? Well, you didn't really say that, did you? It was you, then, who pinned the crimes on my father. I did what needed to be done in order to protect the law and order of the British Empire. Even if that meant employing an unforgivable ruse. That's messed up. Then it was you who arranged this fabricated evidence. I ordered that detective to take care of it, whilst keeping the truth from him, naturally. Gregson? Oh, dang, so he was... Oh, he was the one who... Right, he was the one who called for the autopsy in the first place, so he did that on Strongheart's orders, just so that they could plant the ring? Oh, that's messed up. I was like, good for Gregson for doing that. Turns out he had a completely other motive. Obviously, he opposed me at first. Are you off your rocker? We can't do something like that. There's no question that it was Asagi who murdered Lord Van Zykes. The house staff have made statements that they saw the man running from the mansion that night. Yes, well, I have no doubt it was that Japanese fella. But we haven't got a shred of conclusive evidence against the man. And worse than that, he doesn't keep a dog, so we're short of a murder weapon to boot. And we're short on time, Gregson. Well, when you put it like that, we'll put a stop to this man's rampage for the good of the country. So we'll use whatever means necessary. Do I make myself clear, Detective? Blimey. Would you like some fish and chips? So that night 10 years ago, when I was attacked by those thugs in the back streets, it was to steal the ring, right? And Genshin's ring was taken. That was him, was it? Saying that was Gregson? Oh dang, he was literally there then. That was Gregson and some hired help. The detective handed the stolen ring to Dr. Wilson, who feigned his discovery from the victim's stomach during that autopsy. And in the light of that decisive evidence, Mr. Oski was found guilty of the charges brought against him. However, behind the scenes, he'd actually already struck a deal with his accusers, in which he agreed to silently accept the charges. So many moving pieces. My brain hurts. But I just don't believe that part. As far as I knew the man, my father despised such underhanded dealings. It was extremely easy to make him comply. You see, he had one crippling weakness. What weakness? Isn't it obvious? You, Kazuma Asagi? Me? Perhaps you have no desire to return to your homeland, Asagi? What? Though I hear you have a 14-year-old son. Oh, don't tell me you threatened him, because that's messed up. Agree to cooperate and accept your guilt without contention, and you will see Japan and your son again. You scoundrel. Whether you choose wisely or not, it will be a closed trial by order of Her Majesty, so whatever rash claims you may make in court, we'll have no trouble in stifling them. There's only one outcome for you, Asagi. The gallows. Don't forget that I still have a weapon at my disposal. A document revealing a truth that I know you're desperate to keep hidden. Why would you admit that to him? Yes, it hadn't escaped my mind, which is the only reason I'm willing to bargain with you. I only want to protect this country's law and order. You understand? Man, this shady mofo. So, what's it to be, Asagi? Alright, whatever. Kazuma. Oh, it's so sad. And he never got the chance because he was deceived. He did it for me. And as I told him at the time, my motive was simply to protect Britain from the damage the truth would do. To protect this country's law and order at any cost.
Objection!
He's trying to justify what he did. I've never dared let myself even consider this possibility until now. But in the light of all this treachery, I have to ask. The mastermind behind the Reaper of the Bailey. Is he going to admit to that? Was it you, Lord Mael Strongheart? Oh, jeez. A rather brilliant idea, wouldn't you say, Lord Barak von Zykes? Okay, he's straight up admitting all this, but I guess in his mind, he is the judge. He is powerful AF. And like I said, it's a closed trial, so none of this will reach the public. That the spirit of your late brother, that paragon of justice, should return to reap justice for a sibling. Could there be a more appetizing tale of London's masters, I ask you? What brazen? I knew that you'd play the part to perfection. But your role really wasn't that of some embodiment of death. No, you were London's guardian angel. An angel with bloody hands? I think not. Those who had cooperated with me already were only too happy to participate in my plan. Yeah, you got their children involved. Inspector Gregson, Dr. Wilson. My minions worked tirelessly to ensure that the finger of guilt could never come to rest on you. It's all thanks to them that you were exalted as the demigod the Reaper became. Oh, interesting. But Dr. Wilson left Britain 4 years ago, when he was invited to work in Japan. That's right. So I had to employ the services of his young protege after that. Dr. Courtney Scythe. That's why he kept her so close. Dr. Scythe. So, what with the execution of the Professor and the subsequent reign of the Reaper the Bailey, I've successfully safeguarded law and order in our mighty capital for the past decade. That is everything. The end. I hereby find myself innocent. Ah! Man, this so much to wrap my head around. But it's all coming together. All the mysteries are slowly being solved one by one. My lord, ladies and gentlemen, I do hereby confess it was I who sired the concept of the Reaper. However, let me say in my defense, it was all for the preservation of law and order across the entire empire. Lord Stronghart did it! An unforgivable collection of crimes, but still. All those who died at the Reaper's hand were rotten to the core anyway. If it was all in keeping London safe. Again, he's basically like a very powerful vigilante, so people might see it that way, right? He wasn't killing innocents, he was killing criminals, so again, if he can convince the public that that's just. There is no one left now who can reveal the precise truth of what happened 10 years ago. Therefore, this trial can go no further. Now, I would like to entreat all those present. Beyond these 4 walls, nobody need know the truth. Even Her Majesty must be protected from this. I trust you all appreciate the importance of my request. It is, of course, for the good of the country. That's bull. Can he do this? Can the trial really end now? No. That would be a very unsatisfying end to the game. I have one last question. For the accused, Lord Van Zykes. What? Get on with it. Of course I know that you're a highly accomplished prosecutor, so I find it hard to believe that you didn't have any doubts at all. That you never suspected your older brother. I'm sure he must have. Yes, the same thought occurred to me. It was only once, but yes, I couldn't say that I never had my doubts. Say what? My brother's sense of justice was extremely strong. Perhaps too strong, I observed. At that time, there were members of the aristocracy who were bleeding the country dry for their own gain. And since they were nobles, they were untouchable. For my brother, it was a source of great turmoil. And coincidentally, at the same time, the Professor began his terrifying reign. During the time of the Professor killings, my brother did not appear to be himself. And that made you suspect? Yes. But it was only once, not more. Just one time? Only once, really? Clint wasn't the culprit. That was my conclusion at the time. And I still believe that now. Do you have any evidence to support that idea? The third victim was the Lord Chief Justice at the time. It was he who had recognized my brother's potential and trained him as a prosecutor. No matter what the circumstances, it's unthinkable that my brother could have killed his friend and mentor. I don't know what to think anymore. That will do. Unless Strongheart is once again using him as a scapegoat. Maybe Strongheart is the Reaper, is the one who's actually the Professor back then or something, I don't know. Neither Clint Van Zykes nor Genshin Asagi still walk this earth. However much we debate this matter now, we cannot hope to reach a conclusion. But... Gotta do something. There are only two extant pieces of evidence from the time. The Woebegone ring that acted as the incriminating evidence to condemn Genshin Asagi, and the 3-page Lost Will and Testament penned in black ink and left behind by the man. The wretched truth of what happened is exactly as I have explained. So that's it, huh? Can we glean anything from those pieces of evidence? Later today, I'll present myself at the Ministry of Justice for whatever sanction is deemed appropriate. That is all. Court is adjourned. No way. Someone gonna object?
Objection!
Yeah, there we go. That was me, right? That was Ryunosuke, baby. Thank you, Kazuma. Me. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have made this 11th hour discovery. What discovery? Yes, I want to know too. My lord, I'm afraid I must insist the trial continues. I beg your pardon? As the court has been reminded today already, we must stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth. And to that end, one particular statement made by somebody in this courtroom moments ago revealed a very subtle contradiction. What contradiction? But all I did was ask the accused one simple question. Well, it began with Lord Van Zykes and his recollection about his brother. But Lord Strongheart didn't permit the defendant to speak at length. I merely pointed out that we can draw no further useful conclusions here. So where on earth is the contradiction? One of them definitely just said something contradictory. It's time to identify who. It's probably Lord Van Zykes. It's not saying I'll get a penalty or anything. See, I'm bad at when they expect me to remember like back to something contradictory that was said like this. I'm like, I don't know. I can go back in the history and reread it, but we have two options here. I know we're trying to pin down Strongheart at the moment, but Van Zykes was talking about his brother specifically. It was Lord Van Zykes, I'm sure of it. Something about what he said was just a little jarring. Come on, Ryunosuke. Go over it again. Find it. Okay, you gonna hear it again? Clint wasn't the culprit. That was my conclusion at the time. The third victim was the Lord Chief Justice at the time. Wait, who was the Lord Chief Justice at the time? Wait. I mean, Male Strongheart is here. He's, yeah, I just don't know. Hang on. Go back to Strongheart. I mean, he was the Lord Chief Justice at the time too, right? It is he who had recognized my brother's potential and trained him as a prosecutor. No matter what the circumstances, it's unthinkable that my brother could have killed his friend and mentor. Lord Van Zykes, would you care to explain? What exactly am I supposed to make of those pitiful Nipponese eyes? What's wrong with my eyes? When you were recounting the information about your brother and the third victim just now, something you said was inconsistent with a certain piece of evidence we have. I don't know. I feel like it was something about who the victim was. I'm not sure. Let's keep going. Inconsistent? And even though that inconsistency arose from words out of the defendant's mouth, we have a duty here to pursue an explanation. What are you playing at? I fail to see the defense's intention here, but clearly the court cannot ignore this new development. What evidence is inconsistent with the defendant's words? Again, I think it had to do with the part where he said... Let's see. Clint wasn't the culprit, that was my conclusion at the time. The third victim was the Lord Chief Justice at the time. It was he who had recognized my brother's potential and trained him as a prosecutor. I'm just not sure. The timeline's confusing me because I'm trying to think, like, all he said was the chief prosecutor at the time, but who was that? Or does it not matter? I honestly don't know. I don't know. I'm tempted to try this picture just because, I mean, they labeled it Gregson's photograph, but it points out that the person on the left is Lord Clinton Van Zykes. Why this would be it, I don't know, but I'm just not seeing what the inconsistency is. Or maybe it's the part where he says it's unthinkable that my brother could have killed his friend and mentor. Should I try this? Unless I'm mistaken, I don't think we've used it yet for anything. And it involves Clint Van Zyke specifically. I'm gonna just give it a shot.
Take that!
Dear me, oh, this evidence makes it very clear indeed. But there's no contradiction with either the defendant or myself, naturally. No, the contradiction here lies squarely with you, counsel. Ah, damn it all. That wasn't a surprise. I have the distinct impression that permitting you to advocate for me was the mistake of my life. Well done, Ryunosuke. And don't you dare show your face again at my door once this trial is over. It's going to be very lonely around the Naruhodo dinner table in future. Not as long as I'm alive, Mr. Naruhodo. I got you. I got you, bro. I'm sure we need only think again to fix the situation. Oh my, Miss Suzuto. Yes, of course. I was going off of the impression that I was right about Lord Van Zyke. Let me just try Lord Strongheart then, since it brought me back here. See what happens. Hopefully it'll give me a recap of what he said. It was Lord Strongheart, I'm sure of it. Something he said was slightly off. Come on, Ryunosuke. Think back over his words. Find the problem. Neither Clinton Van Zyke nor Genshinasuke still walk this earth. That is true. That's not a lie. However much we debate this matter now, we cannot hope to reach a conclusion. There are only two extant pieces of evidence from the oh, maybe it is this. Because he says... Okay, the ring... and the 3-page last will and testament... Okay, so he's saying those, so maybe there's something else. Let me go back. So he's saying those are the only piece of evidence, important piece of evidence from that time. The will... I already forget what the other thing he said was. Sorry, my mind's going a mile a minute. Right, the ring. The ring and the will. So what else is there? I mean, again, we do have the picture. I don't know. Let me just go through very quickly. Any other important piece of evidence? Okay, it's not the papers, because you already brought that up. I mean, that is the autopsy report, but that's not... And the ring. Maybe it is the picture, because I mean, it is from that time. And Clint is in it. So maybe there's something we can glean from the picture. So maybe it is the picture. Maybe I just had the wrong guy. Well, we'll find out in a moment. Lord Strongheart, would you care to explain? Explain what, counsel? Among the statements you made just a few moments ago, something you said was inconsistent with a certain piece of evidence we have. Inconsistent? And whilst an inconsistency remains, the defense has a right to pursue an explanation. Ryunosuke, what? Let me warn you about the statements you are making, counsel. They may very well prove fatal. Okay. I don't know, I'm gonna try the picture again here.
Take that!
Okay, I'm gonna reload that. Again, it's annoying because I'm still not entirely sure even which person to choose, so it's like... I have to figure that out first. Which person has the contradictory, you know, which has the contradiction in the first place. Okay, so if I had to pick a part of his statement that I think is wrong... I think it's the only two extant pieces of evidence from the time. So I think that's what we gotta find. We gotta find another piece of evidence from back then that is useful to us. So I could just try going through the evidence that actually pertains to back then. So I mean, no, not this. Sorry, this technically does, because this is the dismissal notice of Vigil. So I could try presenting that. I tried the picture already. That's all this stuff has to do with Gregson. The ASCII papers were already mentioned. See, it's kind of easy to narrow down. Clint's autopsy report is the other one. That might actually be it. I don't know if this would have anything to do with anything. I mean, this was carried down from a generation to generation. Oh, because didn't they say... because, again, we haven't used this yet. But I just had a thought that, we heard earlier testimony that he had, for whatever reason, he had the sword with him, right? The sword was in the cell with him. So I guess that could be it. I'm not sure if that's where they're going with it. And I guess that's it. So now there's 3 pieces of... I want to try the sword. Because again, it says right there it was carried down generation to generation. So, it's the same sword. I'm gonna try it.
Take that!
Ha! Idiot! You're wrong again. Okay, I tried. And I hate being stuck like this, but sometimes I just don't know, so... Which one do I think is more likely? Let's try this. Let's just go in order. Let's try this dismissal notice.
Take that!
Nope. You can tell by the music. Damn it. Ugh. And I'll reiterate, I don't even know if Strongheart's the one I need to be, contradicting. Okay, let's try the autopsy report. That's the only other thing I can think of.
Take that!
Nope. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't pick up on this. It says specifically the 3-page last will and testament. But we established it went missing, right? Oh, wait a minute, though. He's told... I don't know. No, maybe not. Should I try that? I mean, there is no contradiction there. It is 3, It is 3 pages, right? Let me confirm that. Where is it? It's only 2! It's only 2! It's only 2. I got it. There we go.
Take that!
There we go. Oh, that felt good. I feel like I should have caught on to that since they were very specific 3-page. This here is the will left behind by Mr. Asagi. Well, I wonder if he took a page. I wonder if he stole a page. The 2-paged will. What? Yet moments ago your precise words were... The 3-page last will and testament. What do you have to say to that, Strongheart? Ah. Could it be that originally there was a 3rd page? No. I don't know what you're talking about. For a moment, I thought perhaps you'd identify something worthwhile. But it's a mere trifle, I see. A trifle? Governor Caden? Eh? I'm still here. What can I do for you, sir? You were present where the Japanese man penned his last will and testament? Aye, I was there for sure. I remember the black venom like squalls on this day. Why am I giving a French accent now? And I'm quite certain, my lord, there was a 3rd page at the time. What? Only the first 2 pages were the actual will, though. If I mind correctly, the 3rd was a message to his lad back in Japan. For legal purposes, we required only his will. And we would not have wanted any uncomfortable words about Britain to get back to Japan, eh? So it was decided that the 3rd page ought not to be sent.
Objection!
Can we see it? How dare you make that decision? I had a right to know what it said, to hear my father's final words to me. The courtroom is no place for sentimentality, counsel. As it happens, I have the 3rd page of the document with me here now. My father's message. It will give it to you at the end of these proceedings. Probably because there's some important evidence on it. It'll be too late once the trial is over. We need to know what it says now. Even the slightest thing may give us a vital clue. My lord, the defense calls for Genshin Asuki's last words to his son to be read out loud before the court now. Your request is denied. Time for lunch. The inevitability maudlin words can be of no consequence now.
Objection.
How do you know that? The prosecution agrees. The court should know the content of that message. Every possible piece of evidence must be thoroughly examined. Very well then, I am outnumbered. Governor Caden? You will read the third page of the document for all present to hear. Yes, sir. Only, I should point out, my lord, that I cannot actually read Wayam language. Is it in Japanese? This beautiful handwriting. Who's talking? Shame on you, Barry. Ah, Mikitova. He can. If I could be of assistance here, I would be happy to translate the words into English for the court. Even though we're speaking English now, but this is a translation. Father? You are still here, are you, Dr. Mikitova? I wonder if he knew that it was in Japanese and he was counting on that. Naturally, I consider myself a member of the judiciary, albeit a lowly one. But perhaps I shall quietly withdraw after I've translated Genshin's message. Your cooperation is much appreciated. I say not sarcastically at all. Okay, Mikitova. Kazuma, the truth is shrouded in darkness. A darkness only our clan's great sword can pierce. Oh, he is talking about the sword. Mighty Karama, twist thy head and watch them fall. All thy mortal foes. Interesting. That's the end of the message, it would seem. A haiku poem? Twist thy head. Do you mean like the head? Like, I don't know. What's the head of the sword? Like this? Can we twist this? And is there something hidden inside? Father, what is Karama? The name of the Asuki clan's famous sword. A razor-sharp blade known to all, passed down for generations. It embodies the Japanese spirit. It's not known to me. Well, you're British, so shut up. No, kidding. It's the katana sword that was submitted as evidence earlier in these proceedings. The one worn by the prosecution counsel when he confronted Inspector Gregson. Oh, we got an update. Now it's 3 pages. See if there was a 3rd page to it. All these procrastinations have begun to try my patience. Adjournment of this court is long overdue. As the presiding judge, I have been as accommodating as possible of the will of the courtroom. However, despite all that, no new information has come to light. Are you sure about that? I think there was some message hidden in that page. In pursuit of justice, Lord Clint Van Zoyk tragically lost all sense of morality. When he murdered his former mentor, clearly he was already devoid of his normal faculties.
Objection.
How dare you? I refuse to believe that of my brother. Too much time has passed. We cannot ever hope to know more than we do now. Especially since the alleged will that he penned in his final moments appears to have been lost forever. Ugh. Lord Strongheart, you appear to be in something of a hurry to wrap things up. I wonder why. I'm starving. That's why. We've heard you state time and again during these proceedings that everything you did was in the interests of protecting British law and order. What if that's not the case? And I stand by that. Without the Reaper, we could never have achieved the reduction of crime in the capital as seen.
Objection.
What about Inspector Gregson, then? And Dr. Wilson? They were no criminals. You used them to achieve your ends, and then you had them killed. However you dress it up, there was nothing fair or just about that. That's true, they were, well, maybe not innocent because they were helping you, but certainly not criminals. Lord Strongheart? What exactly is it that you're hiding? Dr. Mikotoba? Will you not quietly withdraw after the translation of your former associate's will? Or change my mind? In this courtroom, no argument carries weight unless it is supported by evidence. And it would seem that the defense has no more evidence to present. If I do, I certainly don't know what it is. In which case, I hereby order all discourse from these proceedings to be struck from the record. Oh gosh. Think, Ryunosuke, think. This is my last chance. Mr. Naruhodo! You got this, boy? I have to present some decisive evidence now or it's all over. But can I? I feel like it's not very often that we say no. Maybe the sword? Maybe this time it's the sword? Wait, my lord. As it happens, the defense does have evidence to present. What? Don't be absurd. There is nothing of relevance remaining from the time.
Objection!
It's high time that you realize something, my lord. This gentleman has an uncanny habit of being a pain in the ass, of producing evidence at the final hour that had escaped everyone else's attention. Nonsense! He's right. What is it, Ryunosuke? What do you have? I dare say, the final decisive piece of evidence that will reveal the whole truth about this rotten tale. How can you... Decisive? Well, it would appear there's no escaping it now, my lord. Let it be so, then. Present whatever you think you have that can settle the decade-old enigma if you're capable. What exactly is this evidence that the defense claims to be so decisive? I mean, we just got this third page, right? Which means we wouldn't get that and then it not be relevant. Wait, which one's the one? This one, right? The truth is shrouded in darkness. Mighty karma, twist thy head and watch them fall, all thy mortal foes. Like I said, I think there must be something hidden in the sword. So I'm gonna assume it's the sword itself. It's gotta be, right?
Take that!
What did I say, Counsel? If you are capable with my words? Damn it, come on, really? And this evidence clearly demonstrates you're not. You're capable of only destroying your own argument. Arg! Okay, well, I'm doing really bad. Come on, Ryunosuke, we know that Asuki-san negotiated with Lord Strongheart 10 years ago. Using the last will and testament of Lord Clint Van Zykes as bargaining power. And yet, after his death, that document couldn't be found in his cell at the prison. So does the fact that it was never found mean... Could it still be hidden somewhere undiscovered after all these years? Maybe it's just the will itself. My lord, the defense does have that evidence, and I'm ready to present it now. Well, it seems you're intent on more self-destruction. Let it be so, okay. Are we just using the will? Or am I totally on the... Or am I totally once again on the wrong, whatchamacallit, the wrong path?
Take that!
Nope. So that's not it. Okay, well, they gave me a hint, though, that we're trying to find out where the papers could be hidden, right? We have the ring. Like, let me think. Where could it be hidden? I mean, you think this has to be... Mighty karma, twist thy head and watch them fall, all thy mortal foes. The truth is shrouded in darkness. Darkness only our clan's great sword can pierce. Could it be... It's tied to the sword, definitely, right? So could it be the piece of the sword that got stuck in the trunk?
Take that!
No, it's not that either. I don't... Ugh. I just had a weird thought, but that can't be it. That wouldn't even make sense. I was just thinking, could it be the... Imagine if it was hidden in my armband or something. But, I mean, that was inherited from Kazuma. That had nothing to do with Genshin himself. It's not like the sword itself. Unless... Let me try something. Maybe I am supposed to find something here. Oh, I'm supposed to actually do it. I tried doing this before. Mighty Karma, twist thy head and watch them fall. All thy mortal foes. That's the proper way to use the sword, is it? Maybe I should try it. It hurts my neck, that's the trouble. Mr. Naruhodo, if I might make a suggestion. I think perhaps it doesn't mean your head. Oh. I once studied the history and development of the katana some time ago, and as I'm sure you're probably aware, the sword's head is the part at the very end of the hilt. It's written as head in Japanese, but it's pronounced as kashira, I believe. Kashira. Now, I don't know if I'm just being silly, but I tried this earlier and it wouldn't let me. Maybe it was too early to do this? So Mr. Oski's words really mean twist the butt of the hilt. You don't think... Let's try it. There it is. Ah! Look what's inside it. Is that a tightly wound sheet of parchment? It's gotta be it. There it is. Scarlet ink. It's written in scarlet ink. I pen this, my last will and testament, in the final moments before my inevitable and willing death. This is it, isn't it? Mr. Naruhodo, look at the signature at the end. I can't read that. I'm assuming it says, yep, Clint Van Zykes. And the date, 10 years ago on that fateful night. So for 10 years, it's been silently concealed inside Karama, and nobody knew. The last will and testament of Lord Clint Van Zykes. There it is. Wait. Oh my goodness. Look at this. This is unbelievable. There we go. And it's one of those things where I don't know if I just wasn't hitting the right spot, but I'm pretty sure I tried that earlier to see if I could do anything with the hilt and it wouldn't let me. So whatever. That was the first thing I guessed, right? Was the sword. So I thought we would just present the sword, and then we'd then and there, you know, open it up and find the will inside. So at least I wasn't totally crazy. I was on the right track from the start. That makes me feel a little better. The last will and testament of Lord Clint Van Zykes that had been hidden inside the great sword Karama for years. A trump card left behind by Genshin Asagi. Okay, got it. Now it's obvious what we gotta do. Let me just read it one more time. Okay, it won't let me. That's fine.
Take that!
Take that! This time I'm serious. There's a single piece of evidence that can clarify what really happened 10 years ago. The will itself. The last will and testament of Lord Clint Van Zykes. Ha! A wonderful astute observation, I'm sure. But in case it had escaped your notice, that document was lost long ago. Was it now? That's right, it was. Only we found it. I have it right here. Discovered just moments ago. Indeed. Impossible! That can't be! Everything that's happened comes back to this will. This document is the key that will unlock the entire mystery. Grr! Oh, look at his face. I was wondering when he'd start to lose it. My brother's lost will and testament. Where did you find that? It was rolled up inside this. Inside Karama. The ultimate weapon Genshin Asagi obtained has lain undisturbed in the hilt of this sword all these years. Man, I think he's had it right next to him this entire time. Just waiting for the right time to emerge and reveal the truth. The signature and seal certainly look official. Yeah, Van Zykes is losing it. My god, it's true. It's my brother's handwriting. There can be no mistake. Look at him. I forbid the content of that document from being read out. Do you hear me? I strictly forbid it.
Objection!
I don't care. Forbid it all you want. You can't do that, my lord. This document could explain everything. That document could literally destroy the meaning of justice in this country. I demand that you hand it to me, at once. Why? What are you trying to hide? None of your business. We got him. Could it be that you already know what's written on this page. Ah! What are you implying? Court is adjourned with immediate effect. Clear the courtroom now.
Objection!
Look at my boots, Strongheart. Do that, my lord, and you'll suffer a fatal blow as Lord Chief Justice. I beg your pardon? Forcibly ending a trial without good reason. And not any trial, a closed trial by order of Her Majesty the Queen. To defy the monarch's will is treason. Grr. Look at him. He's about to go Hulk on us. Lord Clint Van Zykes really did pen a will that day. It's exactly as the young Japanese man said. Read it out, now! We have a right to hear what's in that will, a right and a duty. Well, well, my lord. It would rather appear as though proceedings aren't going to go quite as you'd hoped. Look at that smug smile. You fools! Go ahead, Ryunosuke. Read it. The prosecution gives its full support. You got it. Very well, then. No. For God's sake. He's not having it. No! Read it and weep. I pen this, my last will and testament, in the final moments before my inevitable and willing death. The hour is 11 p.m. and I sit at my writing desk in my office. My good friend Asuki stands at my shoulder. Oh, so they're together right now, I guess. He has expressed his intent to invoke the dying ritual of the duel, that I may depart this world with honor. An honor of which I am utterly undeserving. The Japanese are a truly merciful people. Oh, I love that shot. I, Clint Van Zykes, Lord of the Manor of the Van Zykes Estate, hereby confess to the following. I am the killer who has come to be known in society as the Professor, guilty of 4 counts of murder. I will not here discourse the corruption rife among the aristocracy, which is to me as one of them so apparent. However, 6 months ago, I took the life of a member of the House of Lords at the heart of the depravity. A demon who habitually sacrificed the common man to further his own interests, abusing his position of power, and I wonder who that could be. The law is impotent against such vile avarice. Only a fell demon can rid society of this menace. Ah, the Hound of the Baskervilles! That demon was my quarry, upon whom I willingly set my great hound. But though I am a hunter of some experience, I am a poor felon, it seems. My guilt was at once recognized by another, and I became subject to his extortion. He held over me the threat of exposing my wicked crime to my beloved wife and brother. Strongheart, I assume? Under that threat, I have done this man's bidding for months now, killing those he demanded I kill, as I watched my former mentor perish before my eyes at the jaws of the hound I commanded. So he was forced to kill his mentor. And that was by Strongheart. I realized that I had lost the last shred of decency within me, and sunk to the level of a wild beast. That's so sad. There's no path back to the light. Be it I or my dear friend Asuki who dies this night, I am eternally damned. To my extortioner, male Strongheart, may you feel the jaws of the beast at your throat every time you swallow. Suck it, Strongheart! Can I say it? Can I say it? Guilty? Guilty? Huh? There's no walking away from this. So now we know, yes. Clint Van Zykes was a murderer. But somebody was directing him and naming his victims. His extortioner? Lord Male Strongheart. It was you! Look at that smug smile.